Welcome back to the battlefield. Today, in the Scotland campaign, we will probably have a battle with the Iceni and their ambushing army that's hidden over here. There's a pretty good chance that we will have a battle with the Arverni, as I am expecting them to send forces over this direction and attack us. And it's also possible that we might charge out and destroy this one faction, the Carnutes faction. However, none of that can happen just yet because we need to end the turn and move on to the next one. So real quick first, let me glance around and find out which action items I think are most important right off the bat. So first of all, we've got our skills taken care of. We're trying to bait the Iceni into an ambush over here, and otherwise we're just holding a defensive pattern. Now, we do have our taxes raised in order to avoid an immediate financial crisis. It's not 100% necessary for me to do that right now, but I'm just going to go ahead and do it anyway. And let's go to the next turn and see what happens. I'm really hoping this ambush works. Alright, so we have a lot of enemy armies over here to deal with, so we need to be doing some sacking, some raiding, potentially some liberating. Yeah, liberations are always a bit of a mixed bag. Right there, we have an opportunity to go over and hit one of these Arverni armies. I think they're too far apart to be reinforcing each other. It's good that the Navy left us alone, because in an actual battle they could have wiped out a lot of our units, and losing that much manpower and that much financial investment would have been a crying shame. Alright, the British, or excuse me, the Iceni are on the border. I'm pretty sure they still have an army here in ambush stance. Pretty sure. So now they have a second army moving this direction. So we are in for some fighting over here. First order of business is get the secondary army online. Now, I have a choice here. I could bring them in to reinforce as we try and push this army back out of our territory, because they have just enough movement range to get there. However, if I do that, I don't think they'll have enough movement range to get back to the settlement and make sure it's defended. This Arverni army could swing around the side and attack our settlement. And the garrison over here is really, really weak, so I'm 100% sure they would take it if they did that. So, I guess what I'm saying is it might not be worth bringing this army out to reinforce, because it would just leave our settlement undefended. You know what? Why don't we just go ahead and stay in the ambush. Breaking the ambush was probably a mistake, because now it's more likely that I think it's more likely that we will get detected. Let's go ahead and bring this army ashore and let them fortify outside of the settlement. It's a bit dangerous to do this because potentially the AI could encircle the settlement, lock the reinforcements in, and then try and isolate our armies outside. But since we have two armies outside the settlement, I'm not as worried about it. Now, do I bother sending my spy up here to check on the Iceni, or do I run the spy back this direction to see if there's a chance we can run over here and take some ground at Limonum? Or if not take some ground, at least maybe sack the settlement, do some raiding, take some money. Before we start thinking too heavily about that, we need to realize that there's a very good chance they have a fleet. Actually, I don't think the Arverni can have a fleet. because they don't own any port settlements that I am seeing. Alright, well, that changes the game. We don't have to worry about a fleet hitting us from the side, because we're not at war with anyone that even has that potential, besides the Iceni. Now, the Iceni no longer have a port, so this fleet can't replenish, and it's so heavily damaged that I'm not really that worried about it. That said, I'm not sure if this garrison is healthy enough yet that it could actually repulse an attack, even from such a badly damaged fleet. Either way, what we're going to do is pop ourselves out of the settlement. Has that actually increased our income at all? It doesn't appear to make a difference on our financial side of things, which is a little bit disappointing. I thought it would. Public order looks okay everywhere else. We are making 1,000 gold from this province, so removing the taxes to boost public order would be futile. Let's send a spy down here and see if we're safe enough to patrol, just because that could save us a little extra money. Alright, so it appears that the Arverni don't have anyone close enough to attack us, so I think we're safe to go ahead and patrol. That's an extra 200 gold or so. We'll go ahead and keep reducing the upkeep costs and the experience gain rate, and we'll call that good. Now, for the spy. We've got 2 armies up here. I think we're going to try and play some defense up here. Let's use the spy to see if we can launch out and do some offense in this direction. I don't plan on actually taking the city of Limonum. There's a very good chance I'll actually just liberate this if I go and attack it. But I think that's all we're going to do this turn. Namnetum seems to be the safer of the 2 cities at the moment, just given the amount of force that the enemy AI have in this region, so it might be worth spending a little bit of extra gold to try and get the public order boosted. Now, which of these buildings would help out the most with recruitment or upkeep or something along those lines? 2% charge bonus actually might not be bad. And in the long run, we can improve this the most. Morale for cavalry isn't that great. Alright, well, let's go with this. That's a decent chunk of money, but I think it's absolutely worth it right now. It would probably be a good idea to invest in this settlement as well, just so it can hopefully defend itself without us needing to keep an active army here. But let's just go ahead and leave it like that for now and move on to the next turn. I'm going to do a quick check to make sure loyalty isn't too far down. It might be worth sending our diplomats around to boost some public order, so let's go ahead and do that in Britannia first. Because obviously having a high tax rate is going to hurt your public order. Alright, let's go to the next turn. Now I'm expecting to get attacked over the end turn. 100% expecting it, but if it doesn't happen, good. It'll give us a chance to go wipe out that rebellion real quick. We can check out what the Arverni are doing in the south at Limonum. Oh, interesting. So we have potentially 2 enemy armies in the ambush stance, just hanging out. Where did that army come from? Alright, so there is a third army from the Iceni, or maybe that's the one that was ambushing over here. I'm not entirely sure.
For the tribe! Warriors old! Ready for
Alright, here's what we're going to do. Chase this rebellion down, eliminate it, and then
your next command?
prepare for an assault on the south.
I would walk to the other world for my tribe.
Yes. Heading out. Is there nothing else?
This faction's nothing to worry about yet, but they will have an army soon. We may as well get inside the settlement. Obviously it's going to cause a rebellion, but, you know, what can you do? We could recruit another general down here just to have some additional force in the area.
Ready for battle.
Let's stay close enough that we can reinforce in case the rebellion spawns and somehow is strong enough to take the city. We don't want that because we need a tiny bit of replenishment for this army. I really shouldn't be auto-resolving these rebellions since it keeps messing up my cav so bad. Alrighty, so we don't have super elite armies, but we have at least decent medium troops. I'm not confident these guys can win if they get attacked, but, you know, we'll see how it goes. It'd be really annoying if the AI coordinated between each themselves, because the Iceni and the Arverni do not have any kind of military or defensive alliance. So they shouldn't be able to coordinate their military attacks, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Iceni walked their two armies over here and then the Arverni attacked or something like that, and we had to fight all four armies. If that happens, well, we can count on this army getting wiped out, because they're just not that strong. Alright, anyway, I don't think there's anything else we really need to do. Let's check out the tax rate, see if we can afford to reduce it. Let's go ahead and reduce it. Let these guys patrol just to help our income a tiny bit. These guys should also be safe to patrol, so let's let them patrol as well. Get the level up for the general. Go ahead and improve the swords. Improve morale. And then start working towards increased campaign map movement range and increased authority, and then end the turn. Man, it's weird how, like, just how difficult the Scotland campaign seems to be. I feel like if we hadn't, for some reason, been the only faction to get declared war on by all of the Britannic tribes, then it wouldn't have been as big of a deal. Alright, well, there we go. Here's the attack. They've attacked with two armies. One of them is a bunch of levy, the other is actual proper military units. But our garrison is fairly healthy, even if they're all a bunch of chaff. Alright, well, let's give the Hordes of Camelos their first proper test. The enemy deploying about 8,400 men, our army deploying less than that. I didn't actually read the numbers fast enough to do the math. But I'd imagine we have probably about, I don't know, 3,400 in our main army, plus the 3,000, 3,100 or whatever it is in the garrison, so roughly 6,500, I'd imagine. Alright, now even though one of these Arverni armies is mostly levy troops, I think a lot of them still have javelins, which can be devastating. And they're obviously going to have higher morale than our garrison units, so this is still going to be a very, very tough fight. The real danger is, even if we win this, if we don't win with minimal casualties, then the Iceni can still sweep in and wipe us out. And we won't have a chance to like recruit mercenaries or replenish or anything like that. Alright, so what's the play here? The reinforcements are probably coming from this side of the map. It might not be a bad idea to try and draw the AI into this little L-shaped, this square-shaped corner. Have our baggage train just hang out back here, I guess. One of the biggest problems with the baggage train is it is absolutely massive. It takes up a huge amount of space, but it does provide a slight morale buff, and it says it increases the ammunition for all ranged units, so that's a little bit nice. If we go loose spacing, it looks the exact same. So I don't know if the loose spacing actually does anything. Alright, now the most important thing we can do here is have the garrison take the initial damage. So, in an effort to make that happen, we will go ahead and put spear units towards the front. I think I might allow the enemy in to the town square just a little bit, enough that we can kind of hit them from two directions at once. One of the main problems we're going to have here is that we just have too many troops to hold in a really, really tight defensive position. We will actually have these two units line up over here. Doing this might draw some of the enemy this direction, which is a problem. But it's better to have something in position ready to guard than just leaving it open would be. Alright, we'll move the baggage train over here, hopefully just keep them out of sight. They're not particularly important. Keep the slingers in reserve. I don't expect they will accomplish a whole lot, but they can do a little bit of chip damage. We have the choice of keeping our general mounted or dismounting him and letting him fight on foot. It turns out that in DEI that can actually be really, really effective. I've run a couple of tests just to see, you know, what a general's unit can accomplish when dismounted, and I have found that they can actually be really, really potent infantry units as well. Alright, we'll keep the Britannic swords in reserve over here. Now for the remainder of our forces. These guys have a shield wall, so once the primary javelin volleys have gone off over here, there's a really good chance I will just send my spears into that fight. I'd like these guys to fight on the flank, so I'll try and keep them in reserve and well out of range of enemy missiles. The mercenaries don't really matter that much, but I would like to keep them as a bit of a flanking force. These guys can just operate in reserve, I guess. And then our axemen, kind of the same story. We'll probably move them over just so they can use their javelins, but not yet. These guys go ahead and come over here. And we're just stacking this area with absolutely as much stuff as we can. Now I actually want these units in reserve to not use their javelins right off the bat. And I want to make sure these spears don't take a bunch of javelins. So their left side is facing a potential missile threat here, and their front is facing the other direction that I think they could get shot from. So at least that way their shields will protect them if the AI decide to target them. Now, have we deployed our troops how we want? I think so.
Battle ready.
Now on to... big old yawn, excuse me. On to the deployables. I think I will put some spike traps through here. I'm not anticipating the AI will send too much this direction, but you never know. We'll go ahead and put our cav traps. We'll split the cav traps up. Put one there and one kind of in front here. As far as the stone beds, they're really not that big of a deal. I'm hesitant to use the barricades just because I don't want to prevent myself from being able to flank if the enemy all funnels into the same direction. That said, I really don't want the AI coming from this direction. If we have to, we can push out through there, but I really don't want the AI coming through here, so let's go ahead and barricade that off. I'm sure I'll regret that soon enough, but whatever.
Heavy cavalry.
Yeah, that'll be fine. The brimstone pits are great, but I don't feel like sending a unit out to light them, so we'll just leave them alone for now. We may as well throw the stone beds right in front of our troops just to hopefully reduce the enemy charge bonus a little bit. And then let's see how we do. So right off the bat, the balance of power is well in our favor, of course, because the numbers are massively in our favor right now.
Then it will make our task almost impossible.
Enemy reinforcements approaching.
The gods are watching. My blade is itching to cut you.
But as their secondary army approaches, we will rapidly see the balance of power shift in their favor.
Melee fighters ready. Ex-warriors.
We want the garrison to die first. That's the main thing here. Okay, we're actually not going to have these units use their javelins just on the cavalry. Because they're a spear unit, they should be able to handle the cavalry well enough. This front unit can use their javelins though, because obviously they're going to be the ones fighting the cavalry, so they probably won't have a chance to use javelins after. Just go ahead and put everyone on guard mode. We don't want anyone leaving their position too far. I'm not particularly worried about the AI coming this direction, but it still would be very, very foolish to leave it completely undefended. Alright, so our spear boys have taken 5 casualties, the enemy cavalry has taken nearly 50. So far this is a good engagement. Our slingers have the range, so we'll go ahead and let them target the enemy archers. It looks like those are archer units. Let battle commence. Their general's coming in over here. This is actually really, really good here. This is an opportunity to wipe a general very, very quickly, so let's get the cavalry out. I don't know why these guys haven't used their javelins. Alright, whatever. Get in there, go fight them. Our secondary line, I would like them to hit enemy skirmishers where possible with their javelins. Okay, this is good. The enemy is funneling into this area just like we wanted. Cavalry is out and around the flank. We can hopefully go catch this skirmisher unit really quick. We're actually doing alright against this general for now. And it looks like they did destroy the wooden stakes, so we should be relatively safe to do some rear charges. We just want to make sure we deal with this slinger unit while we can. Or this, whatever this skirmisher unit is. Yeah, let's see if we can go wipe them out real quick. How's our front line doing? Getting absolutely smashed. No surprises there. Send in the rest of the troops. These guys can go ahead and come off of guard mode.
Britons! Battle ready!
As soon as this unit is routed, we will come over here and start fighting the general because he's going to start doing a lot of damage really, really fast. Well, I said routed, but I think I'd like them to be shattered before I turn around. Looks like our slingers are doing good work over here. How are these guys not shattered yet? Alright, there they go. Cav, go form up. Front line is riding the struggle bus, that is to be expected. Remember, it's just garrison units. We can't expect them to be good fighters. I messed up my clicking over there.
One of our units has used all its ammunition.
Okay, let's get a rear charge. We are going to take a little bit of damage on these stakes. You know what? That's actually way more damage than I wanted. So let's just pull out, form up in a bit of a tighter formation, and then go for the rear charge. Pretty soon we'll be able to pull our shield wall spearmen over here, but not yet. We are definitely going to get some performance drops as this battle continues.
One of our units has used all its ammunition.
Try not to judge too much. It's Rome 2, it can only handle so much. Okay, we got a nice charge there. Pull out and do it again. Their general unit is turning, hopefully to face the cavalry, or is he just going to decide to smash straight through our units? I'm not really sure. Slingers have managed to rout one of their units, so we will tell them to turn around and try again. Oh, interesting. So they actually did not destroy the wooden stakes over here. So let's tell these guys to go take care of that job now, and we will send our cavalry out to start running down some of their units. Oh my goodness. The performance here is lovely. Alright, now they do have some phalanx infantry. That's going to cause us major problems, just because our light units don't really have a way of countering that at all. Let's start sending some units out and around the flanks where we can. Okay, you guys need to go destroy these things sooner rather than later. I haven't done much damage to this general yet, but that's okay. We're just using levy troops to fight him for now, so I'm still not too concerned about that.
Our men flee the field of battle.
Our men are fleeing the field of battle. That's also okay. Remember, it's still just a bunch of levy garbage. It's nothing to be concerned about. Alright, we're going to just move the slingers there and let them fire at will. I'm not too worried about what they decide to target right now. Alright, we have destroyed that, so let's bring the general in for some rear charges. Let these units move out and around the side. I don't want these units to engage on the flank immediately. Try and keep my citizenry back here just to chase down routing units.
Elite cavalry!
Ooh, we're getting terrible frames here.
The field of battle. This is a shameful display.
Alright, really nice rear charge there. Let's pull out and do it again. This unit just needs to keep holding for a little bit. We'll actually send these swordsmen in to help out. Front line is struggling, like always, that is to be expected. I'm still not too worried about it, but I do want to try and get through some of these lower tier units first. General, go back in for another charge. Citizenry, move out and around here. These three units just get in position. General, pull out, get ready for another charge. These guys are trying to use their javelins and struggling.
Warriors eager for blood.
Alright, Well, the original plan is having to change a little bit right now. Let's try like this. It's hard to even tell where my troops are anymore, but yeah, they have a lot of these shield wall units that are starting to cause me some problems. General, get back in there, do another rear charge. Their general over here is struggling pretty bad now.
Slingers!
One of our units has used all its ammunition.
Let's even have you guys form up a little bit further back, just so this left flank is more perfectly covered. Let's start moving the swordsmen out and around the side. Alright, these guys can go ahead and get in here. Their general has routed on this side. Let's try and actually get the kill here.
The enemy general is dead.
There we go. Alright, our boys are riding the struggle bus in here.
We hunger for blood and battle.
This is okay. We can go ahead and start sending some units in and around the flanks now, I think. Maybe it'd be better that we don't, because a lot of these units on the flanks actually aren't engaged.
Our men flee the field of battle. This is a shameful display.
And since they're not engaged, it wouldn't be like hitting them on the flank, so I don't know if it would actually be worth it.
Heavy cavalry.
Alright, we still have lots and lots of reserves.
Axe warriors. Ancestors honor us.
Let's have our axemen turn and get ready to use their javelins.
Chosen swords.
We're definitely going to lose this position, but that's okay. I should maybe try and get these slingers out of there real quick. Yeah, let's try and get the slingers out of there.
Chosen swords.
Some of the commands are struggling just because there's so much crap going on in this battle. I actually can't even tell these units to move. There they go. Alright, so unfortunately we're just kind of leaving these guys to die, but they're buying time for our slingers to escape.
Slingers.
And the slingers, we're not expecting them to do much damage, but they can do a little bit.
One of our units has used all its ammunition.
Alright, I think it's about time to send some of these flanking units in.
Ex-warriors.
We will especially try to hit units that are already in melee. We still have lots and lots of reserves.
One of our units has used all its ammunition.
Axemen have used their ammunition. Let's let the swordsmen get up there and use their ammunition as well. I don't know why these guys are struggling to throw their javelins so much. I've been having that problem a lot lately in DEI, where my units just won't use their javelins. You lot try and hit that phalanx unit as much as you can. We didn't even get a charge bonus over here, that's a bit of a bummer. It's too busy trying to micro elsewhere, but we do have our heavier units, or one of our heavy units, out on the flank now. I should probably move the general over here just to keep him close by for the extra morale. Slingers, what should you target? Try and just hit that unit of phalanx infantry, whatever. One of you is not in position to do so. Okay, let's try this, and then we'll give it another go here in a moment. Right, time for our spearmen to prove their worth.
Battle ready!
Yeah, the danger here is now that their army's starting to get more spread out, we're not necessarily going to be getting flanking attacks on them. Another danger is if they decide to cheat and pull their units through mine, which would be really, really annoying, but you know, it is what it is. Okay, let's try and bring the general up and then have him use some of his abilities.
They will bleed for us.
Let these sword masters start to kind of creep up on the flank here. I'll try and keep them in a bit of a tight formation. The citizenry is here just to try and catch retreating enemies and wipe them out as much as possible. It's a good way to do a lot of damage to the enemy, even if you end up losing the fight. Baggage train is just chilling. The controls are struggling. Alright, let's try and bring some of these units that are retreating back into the fight. Baggage train, just stop. I should not have recruited this thing, I don't think. That was probably a mistake. Alright, how are we looking over here? Not particularly good, to be honest with you. It's going to be hard to break through this now that the actual front line is pushed back so far. It looks like our shield wall is holding quite nicely, though. Let's go ahead and send in the sword masters now. Just let them do their thing. They'll probably die, but, you know. Just park an extra unit of citizens here to keep trying to trap the enemy. Okay, we got a little bit of a charge. It's not quite enough to rout this unit immediately. Alright, there they go. Pull back out. I'm going to try and use our sword masters almost like cavalry. It's interesting that they've kind of left this unit alone a little bit. We'll have them try and cut down as much of that phalanx as possible. Our front line is holding strong. Shield wall is performing admirably.
One of our units has used all its ammunition.
Go ahead and let the sword masters just hang out here on the flank for a little bit, and no, yeah, just hang out for a little bit. See, this is where you get the AI, because their units start to get exhausted because they send everything in all at once. But we have taken pretty heavy damage during this battle, and our retreating units are actually destroying these barricades. That's pretty funny. Alright, well, we'll send these guys over here. We still have a bunch of light units in reserve. Okay, our shield wall is starting to take some damage as they come up against the enemy phalanx. It might be time to send in the axemen.
Our men flee the field of battle. This is a shameful display.
Alright, men on the flank, push in as hard as you can. They have relatively low morale at the moment. So let's actually sound the charge and send in the troops. Let the axemen get in there and get involved.
Heavy horsemen.
Let's see these sword masters at work in this lovely slideshow we've got going on.
One of our units has used all its ammunition. One of our units has used all its ammunition.
Alright, so we're making some good things happen. Our citizenry is catching a lot of their retreating units. Let's just try and make sure we've got all of these gaps plugged. And let the axemen go to town. really helps that we have managed to eliminate,
Sword masters.
I think, both of their generals. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I think we've eliminated... I know we've eliminated at least one of their generals, and I don't see the other one hanging out.
The battle is turning in our favor.
We're going to get ready to send in the rest of the troops, just to have even more pushing through. Okay, here's another gap we can charge through. Okay, everyone, no more guard mode.
Warriors ready.
I'm going to try and let the shield wall get out of the fighting as soon as possible because they are our best defensive units, and we want them to be as strong as possible for the upcoming fights.
Painted ones.
Go ahead and move in these painted ones to hopefully swap out and replace,
Warriors.
because these other guys are starting to take quite a bit of damage and they are very tired.
Heroic nobles.
Our sword masters appear to be kicking ass the way we wanted them to. Go ahead and let these spear nobles attack. I haven't given any attack orders for my shield walls, which you should do if you want them to get more kills, but I just didn't want the formation to get broken up.
Painted ones.
Alright, so we'll go ahead and send in the painted ones, send in the cavalry, even though it's not realistically going to accomplish a lot with the charge there. They don't have any more spears, so I'm going to go ahead and send my general in as well, just to try and give him a bit of experience.
Ready for battle.
Alright, and there you have it.
Warriors ready.
Beating the AI 101. Create a choke point. They can't resist going into it. Well, I hope you guys survived the slideshow without getting too nauseated. But now it's just a matter of eliminating whatever retreating units we can. So I think I'll probably just edit this part out real quick. So we'll catch you after the battle. Alrighty, well, after a shockingly long amount of time just wiping out the cluster of enemies remaining in this corner, we have ourselves a decisive victory. The best thing about this is I set it up exactly how I wanted to, and the garrison took almost all of the damage. We did have a couple of our units take quite a bit of damage from the main army, but they were really, really unimportant units that can be easily replaced with something better. Our shield wall did great. Our sword masters, I think they lost 4 men, maybe 5, and they got 500 kills on the flank, so I'm happy with their performance, that's for sure. Sending a high damage, high charge bonus infantry unit that's fresh in against a bunch of lightly armored, exhausted units is a blast. General ended up getting killed, 600 kills just running down enemy units. But the main thing is, out of the 4 Arverni armies that we originally encountered, they now have 1 and an extra unit of slingers that we didn't quite finish off. The garrison actually didn't take as much damage as I thought either. Obviously the spears got smashed, but that was a really, really successful battle. Anyway, we have definitely gone over time for today's episode, so I will go ahead and I think... is ransoming captives the way to go? We definitely don't want to enslave them. Yeah, let's ransom the captives, and maybe there's a chance we can get peace with the Arverni. And let's hope the Iceni don't decide to run over here and attack right now. Because I'm not 100% confident we could win again. Alright, it looks like the Iceni are cowards and don't dare attack us. They saw the obliteration of the Arverni armies and decided, you know what, maybe it's not worth it. And they were absolutely right. Man, it's too bad it got so framey in that battle. It would have been nice to get some decent cinematic shots. I still tried to get a couple of them in there for you guys, though. But anyway, we're going to call that quits for today's episode. As always, I hope you guys enjoy, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.